All right, video on the screen replacement or notes here regarding screen replacement on a EliteBook 840 G6. I think the same thing would probably apply to some of the 745s though as well, since they're pretty much the same chassis. So to remove the screen is pretty easy. You pry up on the bezel. You can usually kind of get your finger back there and then pry it loose with some sort of little plastic sponge or something like that, and that will just snap off and remove. There are some magnets up towards the top here that kind of sticks a little, but nothing too bad. And then once you have the bezel removed, you unscrew the 4 screws. The screen will lay flat, and then you disconnect. There's just one connector at the bottom. It'll be like that. There's usually some tape over it. Take the tape off. There's a little metal kind of wire that loops. You flip that up, and then the connector pulls out. And then you can pull the screen out and you get your replacement. There are some metal things that go along the edges here. That's actually where your screws connect to. The replacement screens generally don't have that. So you do need to pry those off of the old one here, and those are just held on by glue. The replacement screen I got anyways did include these adhesive strips that you'd put on the new ones. Mine, the little metal pieces had enough adhesive, so I didn't use them. Anyways, so you put those on, and then you connect the connector, flip it back up, put the screws in. And the bezel portion is probably maybe the biggest trick on this thing. So when you pull the bezel off, there's this piece here that sits along in here, and when you pull the bezel off, you don't have to remove this. But when you put the bezel back on, the screen bezel, you will want to remove this. To remove it, what I did was just take a little screwdriver and pry gently on those to pop that loose, and then shut the laptop, flip it over, and then I just pried kind of right at the ends, and then it would pop out, and it easily comes off of here. Now, admittedly, this one was giving me a little bit more trouble here. To get this piece actually back in correctly. And the biggest thing to worry about is these wires and making sure that they're kind of routed correctly. Mine, it kept catching one of these wires, and this bezel wasn't going back in correctly. So just make sure that your wires are routed and gently, are in there nicely. There are some little grooves, not sure if you can see that there, as well as a little catch thing there that you can use. And yeah, it should go in there pretty nicely, assuming the cables haven't moved on you or anything. So make sure those cables are in there nice. It should go in easy enough. Usually what I was doing is closing it, flipping it. This part that says EliteBook, that will go towards the outside here, and just shoving it in and kind of rotating it. And then it does snap in the back here, and then it will snap in the front. Now you want to have the bezel on before you do this, but yeah, that should do it, and hopefully it's not too bad for you.